Hello there. I wanted to share something with you because I really think it'll be eye-opening as to what else is out there that can really help us not just improve our health, within, um, you know, 60, 90, 120 days in terms of cellular health, but also to help with the aging process. So many of the folks that I know are, more or less my age, right? The ones that I hang out with. And we all talk about what is changing or what we're looking to change so that we can stay stronger as the years and the decades come upon us. And I think we've done a really good job, for the past 20 years, those of us who have been paying attention to cellular health. And it's not that we're bulletproof, but it does mean that usually we bounce back from things better and that the aging process is not accelerated. And then voila, the glycan replacement therapy was recently released, and it allows people to take a very simple assessment that allows for folks to know what their glycan score is. And what that means is that you have an insider's look as to how your body is, um, experiencing life in terms of what's working well, what needs improvement, or maybe where we're missing the boat and what recommendations are available to us to improve that. So rather than me try to explain it, I would like to turn you on to the gentleman who had a huge role in developing this glycan score. And his name is Peter Griscom. And I really think he has some amazing pointers and really allows people to wrap their minds around the kind of technology that is available now to help us. And if we help ourselves stay healthier, right, in the moment, I'm talking short term, a few months, right, and kind of elevate, our wellness at the cellular level, that has a big payoff. It is probably one of the best returns on investment in terms of what we can do from our health. Yes, the other things are important. Exercise, hydration, sleep has become a huge indicator of how well we age and how we hold up, health wise, because even our brain gets a purging during quality sleep. So we have to focus on that as well. But you know what? If you have the time to listen to what I'm going to share with you tonight, it will open the door to another level of awareness for most of us. So bear with me. I'm going to share my screen, and I just am very happy that you're going to take a look at this. And then this way, you'll be able to be the judge of the information you're about to receive. Okay. So let me just share my screen here so that you too can benefit from knowing all this. So here we go. I am going to hit play. Oops, got to move it up. This is on YouTube, by the way.
So I am a naturally curious person. And early on in my life, when I was an athlete and I was obsessed with the idea of going to the Olympics, I wanted to learn everything about how I could become a better athlete. How can I become a better sprinter? And that got me into this area of health. And I immediately became obsessed. I've told you all this story. My first job was at a GNC. I've known that I loved health and natural products since I was a kid. This is all I've ever wanted to do. And that sparked in me this natural curiosity to ask questions. And as I advanced through that, and as I studied and learned more and did some formal education in science, a few things became clear. There's a framework for asking great questions. There's a scientific method, but you personally ask questions every day. Why? Why is something the way it is? What if? How could I change it? Or how might I change it? So this questioning framework is something that I live by. It's this iterative process where you find out you're wrong about certain things and you discover new things. So when I first came to Manatech and had the opportunity to sit with Al and Landon, I started to wonder, first and foremost, are they telling me the truth? Is this a real thing? Glycans. I studied nutrition. I have formulated thousands of products. And yet, this was the first time in all of those years of formulating products, manufacturing products, that I had heard somebody talk about glycans and the way they were talking about them. So naturally, that kicked off in me this iterative process of discovery and understanding. And as I went deeper, I became more and more curious. And so I want to walk you through that iterative process that I've gone through and that we've gone through to come to this new story of glycan replenishment therapy. So when I think about glycans, the first thing that I ask myself, so why and what if this vital language in your body has been forgotten? Why has it been overlooked? Why has it been ignored? And what is it? Right? And that's an easy question. We know about glycans, we've known about glycans for a long period of time. But for a brief period of science, you know, the majority of the last 100 years, we've thought of them as a sugar coating on your cells. And we know they have to do with cell to cell communication, but exactly what that was not known for a very, very long period of time. And in recent years, I have had the advantage of coming in and jumping into this iterative discovery process, this questioning process, when the science of glycans has taken leaps and bounds. So 30 years ago, when Manatech started, we were still in the infancy of glycan science. And now it has jumped so far ahead that it's considered the third alphabet of biology, right there with protein and DNA. And so when I think about glycans, the next question I said, okay, well, so this is a real thing. These are real and they're important and they're part of your biology. And we know that. But what are they? What are they involved in? And this is where the story started to really unfurl itself to me. I said, wow, okay, these people have this amazing experience with these products. And the science is really interesting and really compelling. So, what all are glycans involved in? And one of the most stunning things to me is there's not a cell in your body or a living cell anywhere that doesn't have glycans. Every cell has glycans. That's pretty remarkable. So they're critical throughout your entire body. And they do more than cell to cell communication. And it's not just something for sick people, it's something we all have from the very moment a child is born. That very first sip of mother's milk is one of the most important glycans that they will receive in their life. It's human milk oligosaccharides. We know that human milk oligosaccharides are critical for the immune development in children. And they're so critical, in fact, that they've now been added to formula to increase the overall health of those children that have to be formula fed. They are critical from the very beginning of life. Big companies like Abbott Labs have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into research into how do we make better synthetic HMOs to mimic what naturally occurs in breast milk. That is how critical they are. But it doesn't stop there. All throughout your life, glycans touch everything in your body, your joints, your skin. All of these things are composed of glycans, glycosaminoglycans, and that spongy layer will break down as you age. It changes. We also know that glycans are critical in your hormones. They're critical in cognition. We also know that your glycan profile shifts as you age. As you age, you have less and less sialylated glycan, less and less sialylated cells. And when that changes, your body shifts. That affects cognitive decline. It affects all sorts of things. So we know there's a changing of this glycan profile throughout our life. You have extremely high concentrations of these glycosaminoglycans when you're younger. Again, that impacts your joints. And as you're older, that declines very rapidly. So this changes. So it's this incredible thing that is persisted through all of life and persistent in every tissue, every cell in your body. So this really got me going because I love the science. So I'm spending hours and hours and hours at this point in PubMed, and I'm compiling a list of every natural source of glycans I can possibly think of. And I'm reading the clinicals on these and just becoming amazed. But what was most interesting to me through this process was that you look around and you think about this process of aging and your body naturally breaks down. But why has that accelerated? This is the first time in modern medicine and in modern history where people are living longer, but their health span, the amount of time they're actually healthy, is shortening. So, why is that? And so you start to think about these things in the context of what you're learning about glycans, and all of a sudden you start to stitch it together. And that's where we really get into this idea of glycan replenishment therapy. But being the person who is curious, one of the main things that you'll learn about the scientific method, or if you are a scientist, it's important that you have a null hypothesis, that you have a statement that says, what if this isn't the case? And you examine that thoroughly, right? That's a key part of it, the willingness to be wrong. And so I said, well, if this is so important and if it's really possible to restore this naturally, then why hasn't science done that already? And a few things quickly became apparent. The reason why the research has accelerated so much recently is because up until very recently, we didn't have the technology to study glycans. It was much simpler to study DNA or proteins than it is to study glycans. Glycans have these complex branching chains, and your glycan profile shifts as you age, and it's ubiquitous and everywhere. And there's more things that can go into a glycan than any other, protein or DNA. So it's a much more complicated area of study. But also, it didn't receive a lot of research funding until recently. So if it didn't receive a lot of research funding, there's this process by which now scientists are not studying it because they're not getting funding, and they're focused on DNA or they're focused on proteins. And only recently has glycan research gotten the funding. So it became apparent to me that there was a momentum right now in glycan science, and especially in the last 5 years, it has accelerated because we've now got the ability to look in and see that there are certain glycans that will blow your mind. There's certain signals that are controlled by glycans that will blow your mind, that are amazing. The natural clearing out process that your brain conducts, right? That glymphatic system that we've discovered in recent years, which mirrors your lymphatic system, is controlled by a glycan in your brain. That's pretty remarkable. And that one switch on or off tells your brain whether or not to clear out excess tau protein and other things. That is an aha moment for research. So this research is accelerating rapidly. So we're on to something. Glycans have the scientific validation. We know you're born, and glycans are everywhere in your body. We know they're important from the moment you're born to the moment you die. We also know that that changes as you age. And we also know at this point, healthy aging and the concern about how we age is more important than ever because people are aging less well than ever before. They are less healthy than they've ever been, but they're living longer, which means the last years of your life, you don't even get to enjoy. So people are more concerned about than ever before. And so that is where glycan replenishment therapy comes in. Now, one of the interesting things as I'm down this rabbit hole and I'm exploring the science that we figure out very quickly is glycans are one of those amazing things and very rare things in science where you can actually consume them in your diet or through supplementation and help to restore a healthy profile by giving your body that pool of things that it needs to build those glycans. And interestingly enough, certain glycans found in various different natural ingredients can have specific impacts. And that's a newer area of research where you can identify and say it's not just about those building blocks anymore. Those are a critical piece. But now we know there are specific glycans that have specific functions in the body and can alter natural biological processes or improve or enhance, right? How many of you know about hyaluronic acid, right? We know what that does for your skin, for your joints. Hyaluronic acid is a glycan. Glucosamine is a glycan, right? These things have natural functions in your body. We talked about HMOs already. So there are natural sources and we can fill in those gaps, and filling in those gaps can have an impact. It can have an impact today. Taking hyaluronic acid orally can improve your glycosaminoglycans today, your joints, your mobility, all of those things. So it's pretty remarkable to say you have something that as you age changes and we can supplement and fill that back in, give you those natural constituents to improve your overall health. So if all of this is true, then we should be able to measure the outcome, right? That's one of the things that a lot of products lack or a lot of programs lack is how do I know that this is working? How can I see that this is actually having an impact? And as we look back at Manitech's history, it's critical to know that we've been in this glycan space since before the science really had matured. You know, I don't remember the exact quote. I do not, unfortunately, but a lot of times these type of things take time and you're ridiculed at first. You're saying, oh, it's just sugar in a tub. And then it becomes self-evident as the science matures. And that's what's happened here. You can, in fact, supplement with glycans and improve your overall health. We know that. You can improve your immune function, you can improve your cognitive function, but it's more than that. As our products continue to evolve, as we continue to evolve as a company, we say, how can we show that this is consistently effective for everyone? It's not just for the people who are in the most desperate need, right? As it used to be. It's for everyone. Everyone needs this product. And there's a few reasons why everyone needs this product. In the last 30 years, there's been a ever-changing march in our food supply. It's gotten worse and worse, right? We've gone from foods that contain quite a bit of fiber and other natural glycan sources to food that's been stripped of that, more processed, more refined. And so as you look at Western cultures primarily, you've seen this massive spike in various different challenges as people age. And that's directly correlated with that food that you're consuming and the lack of dietary glycans, the lack of fiber, and other things. So it's a huge change. So we've been in this for 30 years. 30 years ago, it was impossible to tell you how is this working. It was anecdotal experience. But now, where we're at with science, we can measure the impact of our products. We can tell you if a product's working or not. And I believe we're right on the edge. One of the things I'm so excited about, as I mentioned, I've had the privilege over the years loving natural products, personal care, food, just the way that I do. I've had the privilege to do thousands of products and really interesting, fun projects. And right now we sit on the precipice with glycans. And we have this opportunity with the industry leading multi-glycan supplement like ambertose, but then also specific targeted glycan supplements like what we have with our new True Edge products and other things to really catch this wave. And when I say wave, I mean wave because we know the 2022 Nobel Prize was given for glycan science. We know that the Human Glycome Atlas project was launched in 2023. And we know that a lot of the science right now, particularly in pharmaceuticals, is focused on glycans and glycan related therapies. So there's a huge push in this area. We also know simultaneously that for the first time ever, a number of different health organizations are saying we have a health crisis globally. People are not consuming enough fiber. They're not consuming enough of this key essential nutrient, right? And when they are getting fiber, they're getting more of a refined, mass-produced form of fiber, which doesn't feed your gut in the way that we need it to. And we see that. What's the largest supplement category after multivitamins? It's probiotics. Well, when you take a probiotic, you're taking the bacteria. But if you take the bacteria and you don't feed the bacteria, what happens? You're right back where you started. It dies right off. So it's critical to nourish your gut. We talk about the gut-brain axis. We talk about what we have as far as brand new products, things like Mighty Bears, where you're introducing a product that's got more fiber, more glycans, because of the benefit that we know that that has for children's immune system, all from fiber. So all of these things are converging, and we're right on the edge of this revolution where I believe that glycans, and particularly ambertose, will be as common as salt and pepper on the dinner table. It is essential, it is critical, it is a must-have for the future of health. And I think now is that tipping point. This moment right here, we have this opportunity. We're ahead of the game. I don't know how long we'll be ahead, and I hope we'll be ahead for a very, very long time. But right now, we're ahead of the game. We have 30 years of history in an area a lot of other companies are just starting to explore. The glycan age test, right, which measures IgG glycosylation. It's a mouthful, I know. You don't have to remember that. Is the most accurate predictor of biological age. It looks at your glycan profile on IgG to tell you roughly how old you are biologically. So it's getting this mainstream acceptance, right? The Nobel Prize. We talk about things that were impossible even 2 years ago are possible today. And there's growing awareness market wide of just how critical these are for your health and for your longevity from every organ system in your body. Again, every single cell from the moment you are born till the moment you die has to have glycans. It requires it. So now where we're at is how do we take this to the masses? How do we get this out there? And the shift from focusing on one specific thing to healthy aging in general is a critical one because everyone needs glycans. We know that. They're ubiquitous in your body. Everyone needs them. You're not getting enough of them. We know that. If I look around the room at the countries represented, every single one of the countries represented has lower than required average daily fiber intake, right? So just even that alone as a source of dietary glycans, we know people are deficient in glycans. And we know that that has a far-reaching impact on their health. But we also know they're likely not consuming those essential sugars that we talk about. And we also know that there are other areas of focus that people want to enhance for day-to-day life, whether it be cognitive function, whether it be their skin, whatever it is that we have a better solution for. But now one of the more interesting things is unlike a lot of other healthy aging products where they tell you take this and it's going to help with aging and just trust me. We actually have a way to measure that. You can take a picture of your face and I can tell you what your glycan profile looks like by looking at your skin and analyzing it, running it through machine learning models. What if a month or two from now, I could take a video of you walking and tell you what your glycan profile looked like in your joints just by analyzing your gait? That's not something that is far off. That's something that we're working on and delivering now. Being able to measure and show someone where they are today and just how impactful our products are is a game changer. And that's all part of this glycan replenishment therapy story. Being able to give you a score, being able to tell you a product is working is the next step to taking this to the masses. So I would tell you, when you think about glycans, I would invite you to unlearn some of what you learned and rethink about glycans in the context of healthy aging, in the context of something that everyone needs from the time they're born to the time that they die. And if you want to improve overall health, longevity, and most importantly, your health span, the amount of time that you spend being able to enjoy your life, to live your life, to bend down, play with your kids, to be able to keep moving well into your 80s, 90s, and move at your 80s like Ray does, right? Or anybody around this room who's been taking glycans for a long period of time, then now is the time. And now is the time as well to share with as many people as you can because the wave is coming whether you catch it or not. I'm so convinced of that that I believe that this is the next big thing in supplementation. Just like we saw with omega 3s, probiotics, I think this is the next big thing. And I am occasionally wrong, but rarely wrong when it comes to this. And I believe that we are the best positioned business to take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. So getting back to the glycans that he's speaking about, this is something we can do in terms of it's free, it's an assessment, it comes with recommendations. Now, some of you watching this already are taking glycans in terms of our Ambertose products. Some of you are hearing about this for the first time. And I am just here to tell you that when I heard about this a long time ago, something like 28 years ago, I trusted the person who was telling me about it. I was looking for a solution for my son. And I went ahead and ordered this because it was safe for children. And what did I have to lose? It was either that or, jump onto having him be on medications at a young age. And I said, let me slow that down and do some research. And this is what I ran into. And he did well. He did really well. And being curious, as I am known to be, I decided that I was going to do some research and I was going to understand why it did work so well. So here I am now sharing this because what we know now can't even compare to what was available back then. But they knew it was something that was going to help some people. They just didn't know that it was going to help nearly everyone who took it for long enough and who took enough. So here I am sharing this with you because I think it's all good. And I hope that if you haven't taken your Glycan score, that this will be something that after seeing this, you'll want to do. So reach out and I'll make sure that you get the link and then we can have another kind of conversation. Thank you so much for your time in checking this out and be excited about this knowledge because it is life changing. And we'll talk more, I'm sure, down the road about, so many ways that I can share with you the goodness that is involved here. But take the Glycan score. It'll be a great experience for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Till soon.